Okay, good afternoon. This is April 7th, and we're getting started on uh, the tool words at the bottom of tool words created by affixing, meaning adding syllables. Uh, we did all the ones with the we, but today I'm starting with nazuspe. Way at the bottom, there's 5 words. Nazuspe is an axe. It only means that. There's no syllables that have meaningful uh, sounds to make a uh, series of sounds to describe something. This is only just nazuspe is an axe. It's probably one of the most ancient words, so it lost its uh, syllabic meanings. But the next one, mazawik, is the cable, a metal rope. There's a cable, mazawik. And right after that is Oki is a saddle, wood carrying device, used to be, or a wood frame device. And the wood frame device would be the pack cradle, where we pack uh, bags, sacks, bedrolls, items that we uh, put on a cradle to haul on the back of a horse or a mule or donkey. That's a chaoki. Now it means saddle. It kind of narrowed in meaning to mean a saddle. Uh, Yechinkianke is a car or vehicles that are self-powered. Well, they're not self-powered actually. They have a combustion engine, which is sparked by electricity. So we have battery, and we have a timing device, the distributor, to uh, put a spark into each cylinder. If we have a 6-cylinder car, each cylinder is sparked at a given uh, different time from the other 5. So there's a spark that uh, goes into the cylinder that is filled with a fuel air mixture, and it pops, it explodes, and pushes the cylinder down. And it turns the camshaft to turn the transmission, and the transmission then uh, turns uh, the rod going back uh, to the differential where the axle is. There's a housing, and there are gears that make the axle rod move the wheels of the car. That's how it runs. So it's actually not runs by itself. It has other power sources and a chain of other uh, gears and some shafts that actually turn the camshaft. Then would be the one that turns the wheels in the back through the differential. And so it actually doesn't run by itself, but it seems like it does. And in Latin, automobile means auto, self, mobile, moves by itself. So that has a multi-syllabic word to describe the car. It actually moves by itself, but we're controlling it by power sources, and the human then controls it with ignition, starts up the engine, and then it turns the wheels. When you put your gear shift down, it engages the gears to start moving vehicle. So that's a car. Uh, Champa umpi, chapahomani umpi. They use a wood to make the wheels turn by pulling it with horses. Champa umpi. So the movement of the horses pulling makes the wheels turn. Champa umpi. Chapahomani umpi. It's a longer word, but we contracted it to the object, a shorter sounding word, champa umpi, to make the wagon. It's actually champa homini pi, and the wooden wheels would be turning. And that's the champ part. And then, of course, the bed of the wagon where we haul things on, or there's a little seat up on top where the driver and a passenger could sit on as the horse moves forward with the pulling of the horse with the harness. So there's a lot of things that uh, you have to know to be able to work with the help of the wagon and the horses and the use of the harness to pull the wagon at all. And the wheels, of course, we need. And we actually have the grease to grease the wagon wheels every now and then. We'll grease the wagon wheels so that they would have a easier uh, movement. They roll easier with the grease on the wheels inside the axle and the wheels of the wagon. So it's lubricated to move easier. Now, tool words two, the second page, number two. The first one is ocheti. O is a place. Cheti is make a fire. A place to make a fire. Ocheti. We always hear about ocheti shakoi, which means 7 places to make a fire. 7 of them. But we use the broader meaning and we say 7 console fires. Actually, it was 7 places of fire, 7 regions, and they have a person who would be the main speaker, probably the Eapaha, or a person who would be a decision maker. And we need them. We need the decision makers to be able to help us when we're uh, able to make some agreements to do things together. 7 council fires, they're far removed from one another. It's difficult to get them united. In the old days, there were only horseback, and before we had horses, how did they move? They had to walk long distances to get to a campsite or where people lived as community groups. They were all the same tribe, but they were different regions. The Great Lakes regions, the flatlands, were the ponds, the smaller lakes, Sisseton area. And then we have the Rosebud area, and north, the Crow Creek or Fort Thompson. And across the river, we had Lower Brule. Lower Brule. Lower meaning the annex from the Rosebud people. It's a annex means it's lower. Brule means to the burnt people. Actually, Sichangru meant burnt thighs, or maybe sut on their leggings from taking care of the annual fires on the prairies to make the the grass grow greener. And so probably in the fall, they had controlled burnings so that in the spring, the grass would be green and nice from the carbon and grow taller. Now, this is my story of the leggings that had sat on it. I'm hoping that people did have controlled fires and brought the green grass to grow and be grow tall and stuff. So be a region in the rosebud people that control the uh, plant fires to keep the weeds tall and green and healthy and nutritious from the carbon from the fires and keep the buffalo uh, in one area. So they'll have a good pasture land, building pasture lands. That's my idea of the rosebud people. That's the way I think about them. Not burnt thighs that somebody ran through a fire and burnt his thigh. I don't think that would work for me. You wouldn't name somebody who burnt his leg to a whole tribe. An activity would name the whole people. I'm hoping that it's controlled burnings that made the leggings look like they were burnt. Actually, it's just a sut from controlling the fire. You know, keep it well under control so it doesn't spread all over and get to the pine trees or things. Just on the prairie lands where you want a buffalo to roam, where the green grass grows tall. Isn't that awesome the way I think? I'm just making up stories, but I think it's a good idea that hopefully that's what they did. I hope that's what they did was they controlled the prairies to keep the buffalo in one area. Good idea. Hope it works. Hope you accept it. Oh, Galala. Remember I said, oh, is a place? Gala is to go home. La is lovable. A lovable place to go home to. Where would that be? The Black Hills area, the Oglala Nation area. Why would they want to go to the Black Hills? Number one, they needed lodge poles. So when they see the Chesapa, they would say, Oglala, a special place to go home to. Oh, it's a place. Gala is go home. La, it's lovable. Choke cherries, hot springs to bathe and have ceremonies. Uh, they also had choke cherries and plums, buffalo berries, all those things. Uh, they didn't actually live in those mountains. You don't want to live where the lightning and thunder is really strong up in the Black Hills. I'm certainly afraid of lightning. I know the potential. You would live down in a valley probably if you were in the Black Hills. I would, not in high points. So the high points were sacred because of the Wakangli. Wakan is sacred. Gali is came home. Wakangli means when the thunders come home in the spring, you see lightning and thunder. Wakian tuampi, Wakian hotkumpi. The thunder beings voice themselves. The thunder beings light up the land. When I say tuampi, they open their eyes. The thunder beings open their eyes when there's lightning. Wakian tuampi. That's the lightning. And electricity is wakangli. The sacred came home. And the power of the lightning is the electricity. The power of the lightning is that electricity. We knew there was power there. Wakangli. It came home. And when it comes home, they wet the land, the thunders, and the plants start to grow, and we're happy. That's why we say Gili. They came home. They came home to help us with the water sources, the water sources of the Black Hills that runs through the Black Hills in the caves and then come out here and there as outlets. So in hot springs, there's water outlets spewing out water from the Black Hills, rainwater that goes through the Black Hills in the land through the minerals. So they always say, and we know that in hot springs, those little waterfalls that fall, that drip along the hills there in hot springs, a lot of people take their buckets over there and pails and bottles, glass bottles, and they fill them up with that mineral water. They do. I see people over there. When I have my lunch in that little park, I see people going to those waterfalls, and they have their gallon jugs and things. They fill it up, put it in their car. They're going to take home that mineral water. And so I know there was a sacredness about the Black Hills. The water was sacred. The hot springs were a place to bathe. Uh, by Brainerd, there used to be an Indian school there. Along the hills there are pictoglyphs, meaning there were pictures carved in the cliffs that had meaningful signs. And I've never been there, but I heard about it. One of my little sisters went to school there, Marie. She went to school at Brainerd Indian School, and it was a religious school. That's where she went to school. And so, uh, alongside of there, it was preserved for a long time. Now I think I heard that it was fenced off because there were a lot of uh, kids that were adding adding their own graffiti to that place. So I heard they fenced it off now. But there's pictoglyphs up there. One of these days, I'm going to drive over there instead of hearing about it. I'm going to go to the next one. Is Wina Kogye. Kog is a tapping sound. We is a tool. Na is to make it. Na kog, make it, uh, make it tick. Ye is the uh, action that takes place. Wina kogye, the action of the tapping of a tool made to tap, and that's the tapping is the little letters that are tapping on a white sheet to make the signs on there, which are actually letters, English letters, and characters, commas and colons and periods, semicolons. So you have to know where to hold your fingers to. And they hit the P and the O and then the L right below the O and then the K and then the I above the K. You kind of have to memorize everything. After you memorize everything, then you don't have to look at the typewriter anymore. You know where all the letters are. You know where the T is and the Y beside it. You know where the R is and the E, and then the W and then the Q, little finger. The P and Q are the little fingers up on top, and then the second fingers are the A and the L, and then the Z way at the bottom, Z, and then on the other side, you would have the question mark or the period, and then the comma, and then you have the M. So you have to kind of train your fingers where everything's at. I could make a typewriter hum now. Before I didn't know how to type, and I had to look, but I taught myself not to look, and so I learned how to type really well. And I needed to. I needed to type quickly because if your paper is due an hour, you have to zoom. You have to do it quickly. Sometimes we bunch all our work up at the end of the day or at the end of the semester, and we're rushing around trying to finish 5 courses, 5 papers. Ah, just do it through the whole year. Add a little here and there. Get your thesis statement ready, probably the first week of school, so you could, by the time the end of the school year comes, all you're doing is editing what you did throughout the school year. Do start your papers early. Find out what your paper is going to be about. Find out if you have a topic. If it's about a group of people like the Trail of Tears, if you can write about that, something you're assigned, start doing it early. That's my advice. And I learned to do that. I learned to get ready early. So I learned to have all my handouts ready for the whole year. And I did this over and over and over for many, many years. So now it's easier for me because I trained myself to save things, trained how to sequentialize my work. So it'll be easier for me and be more memorable the next time. So that spin-off off of Winakoge, typing things. The next one is Winashkanshkanye, would be making videos or a movie. Winashkanshke, a tool to move the anything that you want to move. Na is to make it move. Nashkanshka. We a tool to make things move. And yes, that activity of the entire object that we're talking about. We nashkanshka would be a movie or a video. We nashkanshka. And so the projector is the winashkanshka. It's projecting the image on the screen and it makes it move. Winashkanshka. And we needed a camera to do that, right? Yeah, so that would be also a winashkanshka, a tool to make capture things uh, that are needed to save, just like the Zoom that we're doing. This is recorded, so people could use it in the future. So now we'll go to we chopte. We chopte. Kapte means to turn something over in a skillet with a spatula. So we chopte would mean a spatula. Okay. Or we have an antique old steel uh, a, a spatula, but it's triangle shaped. It's like 1800s or more, way before. And my wife had that in her family a long time ago, and they still use it. We still have it. We still use it. That's our spatula. It's flat and it's made like a triangle, like this, and has a handle. And so that's our spatula. It's antique. And so we like old things. And imagine Nancy's mom used it. Nancy's grandma probably used it. Her grandma probably used it. Her grandma's grandma probably used it, and on and on and on. It's antique, and we love it in our family. That was my wife's, and she still has it. It gives a feeling of being a worthwhile in the family tree. We're the savers. We save things for memory. I'm that way too. I have things that are ancient for me. I have photographs of my mom, my brothers and sisters, and so those are tools that are still life pictures that I still have as memories. And sometimes a lump comes to my throat. I look at one of my sister that passed away, and I would just get lonely for them. I miss them very much. My mom, my uh, all my relatives that I have pictures of. Sometimes one whole afternoon I just sit there and go through all my pictures, all the friends, the animals I used to have as my friends, my little Bronco, my little Scarlet and Smudge, my white cat, my birds. Some of my birds passed away. Gotti, Gotti was one of my cockatiels. We're going to call her Dottie because she had two little red dots on her cheeks. And we couldn't call her Dottie because it was male. So we changed Dottie to Gotti, like John Gotti. We changed it from Dottie to Gotti. So Gotti stayed with us for a long time. And one day, little Gotti went to the spirit world. He's buried over there by our garden, by our lilacs. Gotti, my little bird, he's buried with the Bronco, my dog, and Scarlet, and Junior. Junior's buried there too. That's Bronco's son. He's buried out there too. And uh, there's Brisket. One of my cats is buried out there. And so there's a whole cemetery where the lilacs are of all our animals. Hell, Owichache. O, a place. Che would be to bury. Uh, Owichache. Kache would be to bury. Wichache would be to do the burying. Owichache would be Wichache would be them that are buried there. Oh, Wichache. Them that are buried at that location. Oh, Wichache. So the next one is Makha Ipapte. And some people just say Makhipapte. Makhipapte. But the long version is Makha Ipapte. Would be a spade or a shovel. Ipapte is kind of the same thing. You push it down and turn the dirt over. No, papta means to turn it over. Ipapte would be to force the movement to turn it over. Anytime you hear E, it's a force forward. So ipapte would be forced to turn it over. Manka would be the dirt that you turn over. And so you could have a garden or to dig something, dig a pit for a campfire. You dig things for reasons. Okay. And sometimes we dig around our teepee, to make a little ditch so that when it rains, the ditch would carry the water away. It's ideal to put your teepee on a high spot and then so you could make a ditch around it and then down the hill so the water could flow away from the teepee. You train your teepee to uh, not have water come inside the teepee. So you have to have skills. Even if it's a flatland, you still make your ditch to train the water not to come into the teepee. And so we have to have skills, right? We have to have skills. So just to let you know, when you're making a ditch, uh, put the dirt that you dug up toward the teepee so that when the rain comes around down the teepee, it rolls away alongside the little hill that you made into the ditch and then flow away. So those are skills that we have to remember to use. And the handy thing is the monkey papte, the shovel or the spade to be able to do that. Chaunkashke, chaunkashke, chaunkashke would be a fence. Kashke is to fence in. Ka is to make it do that. Chaunkashke with wood. They would make a corral with wooden logs and make corrals. Chaunkashke. So that would be a corral or a fence. Chaunkashke. Chaunkashke broadened in meaning to mean fence made out of wire too, but you still have the posts that you could say that chump part, chaunkashke, but we have the barbed wire, to hold a fence line at a good height, and then maybe 3 rows of the fence so the cattle can't get under, crawl under. You kind of keep them contained inside the pasture land of where you want to keep them. So that Chaunkashke does that. And notice that we have syllables that are meaningful, that are strung together to create a descriptive word. Chaunkashke. With a wood, we hold them in. Kashke means to hold something in. And so wata, the next one, it's not wita, it's wata. Wata. So to cross out wita, and then put wata. And that's a canoe or a boat. That's a wata. Okay. In the old days, they had bull boats, uh, a boat made out of buffalo, one buffalo hide. They make a frame and then you shape it uh, around like an upside down dome to kind of tighten it up and that floats. That's a bull boat, probably because of the bull hide that's used to make that. He got out?
Yeah, he was out.
Oh.
Should I put get it? I don't want the cat to get in. I'll bring a stand.
Could you open his door and put him back in?
I suppose I could.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right.
Yeah, just reach over and open the door.
I'm afraid he'll bite me.
He's not going to
He's
bite you.
coming.
If you hurry, he won't come. Okay. So one of my birds got out of his home. We brought him in here. Tell him to put him back in. Okay. Maza Wakhan. Wakhan is, Christians use it as sacred. We use it as power. Wakhan. Or mysterious. Like the mysterious horse. Yeah, Shunka Wakhan. Shunka. Shun is any animal that has ears that move. That's a shun. Shun shunla. Shunka Wakhan. Shunka, the dog itself. Upstanding ears is shunka. So the horse is a shunka, wakhan, the mysterious or powerful horse. The powerful dog-like being, shunka wakhan, is a horse. Shunka, of course, remember, it means two ears sticking up. The dog does that. And the cuter mules and donkeys will say, shun shun la. Shun is the uh, pointing up ear, or the middle feather of the eagle on the tail is called a shun. And so they use them to want one to stick out in the back. Some tribes, a woman could have one sticking up in the back, and some tribes allow women to have a feather sticking straight up in the back. The shun. The middle feather, the tail feather of the eagle is a shun, because it stands up like an ear too. Anything upright, standing as a feature on a being, is a shun. Shunka, shun shunla, shunka wakhan, and shun itself, the middle feather of the tail of an eagle, or any bird. The middle feather is the shun. Just to let you know where the origin of these words comes from. So mazawakhan, back to that, a metal that is powerful. Wakhan, powerful metal. You wouldn't say sacred metal. Woapi wakhan, you can. The sacred book. Woapi wakhan. And if it's a metal rifle, then you say the powerful metal, mazawakhan. If you're using it for shunkawakhan, then it's mysterious and powerful. That would be the appropriate use of the word wakhan. Powerful, sacred, and mysterious. Three different things. But you have to put them in context to the noun. Woapiwakhan, the holy book, the Bible. Shunkawakhan, the strong, powerful being, the Shunkawakhan, the horse. And uh, the Shunshunla is the donkey. And so just remember that wakhan has to be used in context of those three different ways that wakhan has a meaning. Wakhan, we said sacred because when the early Christians came, they needed a word for holy. And so that's why they used wakhan. Remember Wakangli? The powerful electricity, or Wakangli, the power that came home, and that's the lightning. They come home to us along with the thunder beings, the thunderstorm, uh, the thunder sound, and the thunder light, the lightning. That would be Wakangli. Wakangli is electricity. Wakia Tuwa is the thunders open their eyes to make light. Wakia Tuwa. Wakia Tuwampi would be there's lightning. Wakia Tuwampi. The thunders open their eyes. Wakia Hotchompi. The thunders produced a sound, and that's the thunder sound that we hear. Wakia Hotchompi is the thunder sound. Okay. Now we go to C. Maza, would be the horseshoe. C is foot, Maza is metal. Metal foot, or the horseshoe. They put they nail the horseshoe, or the metal, horseshoe shaped metal that is uh, made to be nailed onto the hoof. But the edge of the hoof is going outward. You don't want to pound it inward. You'll hurt the foot of the horse. You just want to deal with the hoof. So you have to have a skill of nailing outward to hold the horseshoe onto the hoof. You have to have a skill not to touch the meat of the foot of the horse. That's why we have people trained to be farriers, to be able to put the horseshoe on in a good way, that it doesn't hurt the horse's foot and touch any kind of feelings or the meat part of the horse. No, don't do that. Get somebody who knows what they're doing to put your horseshoes on. See Maza. Okay, Ojanja Galepi. O is a place. Janja is glass or light. Galepi is placed or standing upright. An upright light. And O is a place to have a shiny small structure that holds the light up, the light bulb. Ojanja Galepi used to be a glass uh, bowl type of a canister to hold the kerosene, a little cover at the side, screwed on. And then we have a metal uh, part to hold the wick. And it has a little turning thing, so you could pull the wick up or turn the wick down or up. Then we have a glass globe where the flame is inside of there. So that's the light. Jean Jean. Oh, Jean Jean Gillespie. The light and the glass. Jean Jean is glass too. Oh, Jean Jean is to emit light. Oh, Jean Jean Gillespie. Emitting light device, or an upright standing uh, lamp. The lamp casing that we would have to be standing up. Now we have some little structures that holds a light bulb. And so that's another more modern way of emitting light for our homes with a light bulb. Ojanja Gadepi would be the Hedepi. Ojanja Hedepi would be the Dakota way of saying that with the HD, not a GL. Ojanja Hedepi would be the Dakota way of saying lamp. Ojanja Hedepi. Mi Ogalas E is, I always say mirror glass. Mi Ogalas E. Mi Ogalas E, actually, mi Ogalas E means peek at yourself. I peek at myself would be the mirror. Mi Ogalas E. Mi Ogalas E. I peek at myself like this. I kind of You got me, Miogalasi. Or if you want to really squeeze a word in there, you could say mirror glass, Miogalasi. Okay. Uh, I made that up. The mirror glass. It isn't that. It's Miogalasi as I peek at myself or I look at myself. Looking glass. Miogalasi. Okay. The next one is the Dakota way of saying that would be Mihorograski. Mihorograski. It's really difficult to say the H and the D. Mihorograski. Mihorograski. Okay. Mihorograski. Mihorograski. It's hard to say it in Dakota. Okay, let's say Ishtamaza. Ice, metal ice. Uh, there used to be a movie actor called Iron Ice Cody. Iron Ice Cody. I didn't see him wearing any glasses, but they call him Iron Ice. Probably a ancestral name. Uh, that would be a Ishtamaza. It's a metal frame eyes. The frame holds the glass to magnify or to help the eyes see clearer. So that's a good thing. I have to use these ones when I read. When I read a book or something, use my reading glasses. It's Ishtamaza. Although it's made out of plastic, we still say Ishtamaza even now. Itazipa is a bow. Itazipa is a bow. Itazipa. Wahinkpe is an arrow. Wahinkpe is an arrow. Okay. Wahinkpe. Inkpa is the tip. Wa inkpa. And the H was used to better say the word easier. Wahinkpa is the arrow. Wahinkpe. Wahinkpa or wahinkpe. Either way. Wichat is a war club. Wichat would be a war club for defense. We would some wichat were actually tools, like wichato, the hammer, wichato. So some of the hatchets would be uh, a, a form of a tool. So it'd be more like wichato. You hit it to make uh, the sound for making a hitting noise. Wichato. To is a sound. Like if you say tuaka toto, somebody ka is hitting to make that pounding sound. Gato is a pounding sound. Tuaka toto is a consistent pounding would be tuaka toto. Somebody's knocking. If you're going to say the door, you can. Tiopaki tuaka toto. Somebody's knocking on the door. Tiopaki, the door. Tua, someone. Katoto. Tua katoto. Tiopaki tua katoto. Tiopaki tua katoto. Tiopaki tua katoto. No, it's not the dog fighting its fleas. It's somebody knocking on the door. Okay. Hey, my little princess, sometimes she scratches herself and hits the floor. It's not somebody knocking, it's princess scratching herself. Tuakatoto. That's princess. Okay, Tuakatoto. A spin-off of WeChat, a tool to knock somebody out. Chat, got hitting and deadening someone is dead. That's a good place to say means deadened. It doesn't mean died and expired his life. Is deadened because even a human body, when it's expired and passed away, it's still alive. The bones have atoms and movement of the chemistry inside, the electric movement of the atoms. It's still inside. There's still movement. It's not fully dead. Okay. So we say deadened. If you sit on one side of your leg too long, like sitting on the floor in ceremony or in a sweat lodge, you sit in one place for a long time. Sometimes your leg and entire foot and leg goes to sleep. We say, and you say, "Who wakpat eh?" I deadened my leg. It didn't die. It's still alive, but it's deadened. That's why you have to say deadened. It's not fully dead. You could still feel the electric current in your legs and your feet. If you ever put your leg to sleep, notice that there's a like a live motion in your feet and your legs. Still, it's asleep, but you could feel the movement of the atoms and the electrolytes of the blood. It's still you could feel it moving, but you can't move your leg because it's deadened. You put your leg to sleep, and so you rub your leg until you get it going. Move to one side, keep rubbing the leg, and then you get the circulation going again, and then you could use your feet and legs again. Sometimes you put our leg to sleep, and I know I did once. So I had to stay in the lodge and then move to one side, and I kept rubbing my legs till they came back to life. They start having a circulation where I could move again. So that happens, you know. Uh, there would be then means it's not fully dead. Uakpate, I didn't. Uh, uh, my leg didn't expire. It still has life in it. I could feel it. That's it. It's dead end, not dead. Okay, it's not fully dead. It's dead end. Okay. Uh, Once again, that's from me. Kill Smallism. I made uh, language use by applying linguistics to the language of the Lakota so that we could explain easier that dead doesn't mean actually fully dead. It's dead end. That's from me because of my experience that my leg didn't actually die. Just, where I said, went to sleep. But we say dead end. Huakpat. Who wakpat? I deadened my leg. Isn't dead. It's dead end. Okay. Remember it's not fully dead. Still has life to it. Okay. We you junta. That little star there with the H means we you junta. I just did that for reference to that sound. It's the gutturalized sound. We you junta. Junta means uh, to scrape, and a tool to scrape. We junta, a hide scraper. I have one here. I have a scraper here. I hope I can get it. Oh, here we go. I have a scraper right here as a handle on. This actually just scraped a grill. Your grill outside. You're cooking outside on your gas grill or your charcoal grill. You want to clean it up. This is the. But I use this for scraping hides. I have another use for it, scraping my hides. So that's a good tool. It's actually for cleaning your grill. but I use it for other things. I make up my own tools. I use tools that were made for something else. I use it for the things I need to scrape my hides and things. Waslate ichazunte would be a loom. So we must have knew about looms. Waslate ichazunte. It means a upright device. Ichazunte means to weave or to bead, loom work. So it's a waslate. Waslate would be anything that was weaved. Waslate. Weaved item is waslate. And ichazunte would be the act of looming. Kazunte is actually the word with the K, but when you have an I in front of you, change the C to, or the K to a C. That's why you get ichazunte. Kazunte by itself is to uh, loom work, back and forth, weaving or doing beadwork with the loom. That's kazunte. So if I made a belt by using loom work, I would say, hey, wakazunte. I uh, uh, did that beadwork by loom with a loom, uh, putting a bead, holding the bead on, and then putting a bead on top to hold the beads together. The strings are like this. You put your bead in each of those strands, and then you hold it, and then on top, you send your bead through so it holds the beads together. That's weaving, beadwork style. Kazunte, or the tool will be ichazunte. Waslate is the woven item. Waslate ichazunte. Okay. Learning new words, right? Yeah, we must have had them about the looms, things to weave together, things. So next is, and then the Dakota version is wasada te ichazunte. The D in place of the L. Wasada te ichazunte. Kahishpa. Kahishpa is a needle. Kahishpa. Okay. Kahishpa. Yeah. So that's a needle. Kahishpa. Could be made the all huichapre or kahishpa, a needle or an awl to weave or sew the sinew on rawhide or things that you need to hold together. Then we have uh, we kapkan or we chapkan with the C. Change the K to a C because we see that I, we chapkan, would be a stone mallet. Remember I told you about that one up there, the Wichat, the war club? Some of those were probably a tool to hit hides or things to make them soft, or also to make the papa soft when the raw the beef jerky is dry. Sometimes we hit it to make it softer so grandpa or grandma could chew it. So we keep hitting it to make it a soft consistency. Sometimes we nearly make it into a powder, the beef jerky. And that's called pemmican when you make it like that and you sweeten it. And that's trail mix, right? Different wasna. You mix them together and put some nuts in there and different things to make a trail mix. Sometimes you put raisins in our wasna. And so just know that. So that's the Wichapkan would be the stone mallet or little hammer device to soften up things, the rawhide or We chop the beef jerky, soften it up. Okay. We chato is a hammer. Remember, kato, I said was to make that sound. Katoto, tua katoto. Wichato would be a tool to make the pounding sound. Wichato would be a hammer. The pounding sound is the to, to. Kato is to knock. Wichato would be the tool to pound. Wichato. Okay, next is we, you, tinze. You is to pull, tinze is to tighten, and the we is the tool. Tool to tighten a bolt, uh, twisting a wire with a plier, twisting motion, twisting motion on a wire would be a we is a tightening device or tool like a plier. We is so uh, we shpu. The shpu is knocking something off or cutting something with a chisel. You hit till it cuts. And when I have a barrel and it's closed up on top and on the bottom, the oil barrels, usually what I do is get a chisel and on the inside of the top lip, I hit and hit. You can keep cutting with the hammer and chisel all the way around so you could take that off. And now you have a barrel where you could clean it, wash it, and you could hold water in it, or you could have as a where you could burn your papers in the barrel. Burn whatever you want to burn. And the first burning, just turn the sideways right away and pull out the ashes and store it on something. Store it into something. Maybe put a tarp down, a small old tarp. Put it down. Lay down your barrel when it's cooled down and pull all the ashes out and then pull it back up. If you're going to store it, turn it upside down so rain doesn't get into it. So the barrel's upside down so water doesn't get into it. But always, while it has a little bit of ash in it, clean it right away. Because if you let it sit, soon it's going to get deeper and deeper. And soon you won't even want to work with it. You make a lot of work for yourself. Thank you for today. Thank you for your visit. We went through two words too. To let you know about tool words, we'll move on to other types of word use in our next visit. Thank you very much. Doksha Hakala. Again, later.